Ellie, you're not gonna believe this place. It's true. All of it.
Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
On that note, hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentleman Fan Film Reviews. I'm Sid Part 2. Joining me today is...
Stay hydrated for fun.
Indeed. And today we're here to talk about the fan film Star Wars Origins. Alfie and I, we're in the middle of Geeky Gentleman History Month, and I was like, Alfie, let's not try to do historical-based fan films. It's just, they're not easy to come by, and they're usually not very good, and so let's just ignore it this year. And then I accidentally flexed, and then Alfie was like, well, I see your accidental flex and raise you even more of an accidental flex, question mark?
we really stumbling into it, don't we, huh?
Yeah, so this was an interesting one to watch, and I gotta tell you, after seeing the accidental flex, I started to do some digging, so I'm quite excited for next week. But yeah, so this was an interesting one to watch. So I guess I'll just, like, spoilers for anyone that hasn't seen it yet. We always talk about these things as if you have seen it, but I gotta do the rare thing where I have to explain what the fan film is to just, like, wrap my head around talking about it. So this is like a fictionalized account of archaeologists a la Indiana Jones style discovering a spaceship and like cave paintings and stuff that tells the story of Star Wars, like lays it all out. And then it's just all true, all of it. The Jedi, the Force, all of it's true. And the archaeologists barely survive after being first attacked by like some seedy Middle Eastern terrorist group, and then almost getting in a fight with Nazis. But then a lone woman archaeologist survives, and it turns out she was pregnant with her partner's child, and she's going to tell her son all about what happened. She's going to tell George all about it. And I thought that was like, I don't know. It was a very strange and intriguing premise for a film. Let me just start it out that way.
I mean, when I saw this film now, and I saw the title, and even in the episode you can go find that audio, I was like, yeah, it's probably like a Jedi origin, like Old Republic style, like Star Wars film, maybe on like Tatooine or something from them, but you know, yeah, I guess it kind of fits. And then it fucking starts, and the fucking title card comes up with the date, and then these guys are fucking in cars with archaeologists. I'm like, what? Is this the right fucking video? Like, what the hell? Like, is this behind the scenes or some shit? But then it keeps going, and yeah, I never in a million years would have predicted that when they said Star Wars Origin, they really meant George Lucas' a Star Wars story. But someone must have seen the fucking, is it E.T.? It's a film or something. Like, there's a spaceship in the side, and the fucking army guy goes, "You can tell your son about it." Oh yeah, it was fucking Godzilla. Mr. Agent Spielberg. And it's a fucking like, oh, that's where he got his ideas from. Is his fucking parents told him about the real aliens kind of shit.
Oh, is that Super 8?
No, that was fucking. It's a Godzilla movie.
Oh, huh.
It's one of the God movies because I remember it's like dubbed over. It's like Asian Spielberg. Again, it's a very vague memory of it. I remember that exact scene. So like they're doing that take of like the creator had a origin, which is really the source of it all, about George Lucas's fucking parents, who not only were Star Wars but were also Indiana Jones. So it's just a wild ass take, and again, as it took me a while to get over that initially, and then the end bit with the George Lucas bomb drop just completely fucking threw me. But I will just say off the bat, very technically impressive, very very ambitious. Like there's a fucking car chase in this. There's fucking desert sets and location filming and all this kind of shit, which is just how y'all did this. Very, very. Like, got the Star Destroyer coming up from the dead. It looks great. I'm like, what the fuck? So like, there's really some good stuff in this that I understand why it's done well, and obviously it's got Mark Hamill's attention and stuff, but just the pitch for it, I guess I'm curious for what that looked like. How do you pitch this film?
I mean, it's a really weird idea, and I don't know. My opinion on George Lucas as a filmmaker and a storyteller is constantly evolving and changing. 'Cause like, I legitimately like the dude's vision and ideas and stuff when he's not changing his mind on what they are. You know, like I legitimately appreciate George Lucas, or at least a version of him somewhere along his timeline. But like, I guess it's weird to me and off-putting, and just kind of felt like, I don't know, I guess gross is the only term that comes to mind for me to explain the reaction I had to the "I'll tell George all about it" moment at the end there. I was just like, I'm under no bones about the idea that like Star Wars would somehow exist without George Lucas. I 100% understand that world does not exist. But like, what Star Wars evolved into, not even after the first films, not even after the original trilogy, but like within the process of making the original trilogy, I just know for a fact was so much more than George Lucas. Because like the thing with the special editions, despite like wherever you sit on the should he have the right to go in and change them and stuff, the thing with the special editions that's always kind of bothered me was the fact that like he went in and took out other people's work and contributions and plastered it over with his new ideas. And that's the thing that's like always not sat well with me about George Lucas and his connection to this franchise and his story is like, yes, 100% it is George Lucas's story, but it's also a lot of other people's. And again, that's not saying the fans have a right to it all those years later and stuff. I'm talking about in the development of the films, like even the first film, like the everything that's ever been reported about the original first cut of Star Wars says it was a fucking dumpster fire. And so like just how much of Star Wars is outside of George Lucas's hands, it felt really weird to kind of paint this film, which I get is like meant to be like a loving tribute and stuff. It just like I just like reeled at that bit though, I gotta be honest, of the like George Lucas as the prophet kind of really irked the shit out of me, I gotta be honest.
I didn't have that reaction. I think that's just in general because I have a higher view of Lucas than you do in general, but I think it's more meant to be. I agree with you in the sense that I felt a little weird, but not because of that. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to, like you say, pay tribute in a silly kind of out there way, but as like a top of the hat. And like, if you're gonna do it to anyone, there's no real way to do that to a group of people. Like, it does make sense to have the figurehead be like the George Lucas be like this is just where he got the idea from, and that kind of thing then spiraled into the actual films and stuff. I think is their intent. What more weirded me out is I feel like doing this to someone who's like still around is a bit odd. Like, George Lucas is still helping out making Star Wars. Like, guys, he's not dead. Like, and his parents, he I don't know. Like, I don't know how you feel about if I like seeing this shit. Like, his fucking dad, like, vanished in a fucking Star Destroyer up into space. I don't know if that's quite cool, you know. Like, I don't know about that one. That doesn't quite sell for me. Or even just the implication, like, because people do this, and I understand why they do it, but it always comes off as insulting as like a writer or something. It's like, where did you get your ideas? Where does it come from? Who did you take it from? Who told you that? Where did you find it? As if it's like some magical place. I don't know, if I was George Lucas, I would be kind of like, I'm sorry, my mom didn't tell me this shit. I made it up myself. that to me more. I guess almost the opposite fact of saying like they're giving them too much credit. I'm saying they're giving them enough credit, because I feel like that kind of takes. Whenever you do things like this and you like make the thing, I think it kind of takes agency away from the individual to say they got it from someone else, or someone else is the real thing.
Again, for me, it's the like painting Lucas as like a messiah just felt really weird to me. Not even necessarily the like people around it. I'm just saying that as like the context for why I think it bugged me so much.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Because it's like it's. I think we have a tendency to do this as like the figurehead gets all the credit, the people behind the scenes that made it happen go by the wayside. You know, we saw this like with Steve Jobs, who Steve Jobs made like contributions to the iPhone, and he kind of was a major part of pitching the original idea. But, like, Steve Jobs didn't make the fucking iPhone. Yet, like, the cult of personality that existed around Steve Jobs, like, he got the credit for being the visionary for it and stuff, you know? And it's just shit like that. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to try to say that they didn't contribute anything, but we have a tendency as a culture to try to give credit to one person. And I feel like this does that in kind of the most elaborate way of like literally putting that person up on like a pedestal as like some kind of deliverer or you know, again, just very messiah-ic style figure is the way that this came off to me. It's literally like the fucking the fucking John Connor in Terminator ending of the movie moments.
I feel ya. Again, it's just a weird elevator pitch, you know? And then to do it as a labor of love, not as like produced by the Lucas estate of all like people close. Like, it's just fans really like George Lucas, I guess, doing this piece of a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to make it work. So
it's funny how like the opinion on Lucas has changed ever since the Disney buyout happened.
Yeah, they 180 on him. This is not George Lucas for Ate My Childhood, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, man. It's just the fucking cultural zeitgeist has completely shifted on Lucas ever since that first Star Wars movie from Disney. And so, like, it used to be, oh, he fucking ruined his own franchise and just did everything wrong. And now it's like, oh, see, George Lucas said something slightly negative critiquing the Star Wars movies from Disney, so therefore they're all garbage. See, Lucas is on our side now, guys. It's okay. Yeah, so I don't know, it's a fascinating thing to see the way the fan base has switched on him. And I'm not saying that's like these filmmakers have turned heel or anything. I don't know anything about them personally or their views on Lucas. I just find the take really, really strange, and it kind of did really stick out to me and just left me with a weird feeling. That being said, there was some stuff I liked in this. Like, so the second you put Star Wars on anything Star Wars on Earth, I start to go like, okay, this feels kind of weird. The thing I legitimately did like was the fact that, like, okay, so it firmly places Earth somewhere in the Star Wars universe, and it should have seemed obvious to me at that point, but of course it wasn't. When she fucking turns around and grabs that lightsaber, that was a pretty fucking hype moment because she force pulls it, man. I wasn't prepared for that. I don't know why I wasn't, but it was really fucking cool.
That's the part for me that kind of put me out.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like that. I actually think as well, just on a technical level, the lightsaber in this looks kind of bad.
Oh, okay.
Like the blade. Not the prop. I think the prop is meant to just be the Rise of Skywalker, which is weird to see that it's like the rail version of it, where it's like battle damage and torn off. It's like, how the fuck did that get there? Because she buried that shit. But okay. But a good story for another time. But the fucking the use of the blade of it, just I thought we figured that out of how to make good lightsabers in fan films, but I guess not, because that they looked really stiff and didn't quite hit. But conceptually, story-wise, I was kind of with what you're saying. I was kind of digging the idea of, all right, it's Star Wars on Earth, but we're going with the conceit. It is a long, long time ago in a galaxy far away. So the Star Wars are long, like thousands of like, we're way past that era now. We're finding like pieces of artifacts in the desert and from like asteroid things and just random pieces that we can't think that are just leftovers from this ancient civilization that we'll never fully understand. Like, I like that. If you're gonna do Star Wars, okay, on Earth, do it like that. That's cool. That's mythic. That makes it more important and stuff. I think that's as best you're ever gonna sell me on it. You know. Again, the Boba Fett, the Mandalorian one was fun because it was comedic, but that was like an official thing. Would have been not into it, you know. And even then, I wasn't fully feeling that. What lost me is when you have that happen, and then she does the Jedi shit. And I'm just like, come the fuck on! There's no way. There's no way they've got the fucking Jedi shit on Earth like that. Come the fuck on.
I don't know, man. Like, I just think it worked for me because, like, it like, if Earth is just in the Star Wars universe and everything that we saw happened a long time ago, then yeah, the Force is just there. And if you've like, they're smart with it, I think, to be really vague about how long she's been like looking at these artifacts and stuff. And like what level of detail of the story she has, because it seemed to just be cave paintings, but conceptually they could have found like fucking holograms and shit that told the whole story.
Sacred Jedi text.
Yeah, the sacred text. But like they're vague with how long she's had this information, and so it just means that like the Force does exist. And so, I mean, Alfie, you fucking gonna tell me that if you found like a fucking ancient cave with all this like futuristic technology and shit, and like all these stories about like people using the Force to like pull shit across the room, you wouldn't fucking try it?
No, I get the trying it, you know. Like, if it had just been her swinging the lightsaber, like hitting the guy, I think that would have won. Like, you know, like Finn in Force Awakens, right?
Yeah.
I'd have been here for that. It's
the fact that she goes Force user mode on it.
The use of the Force in that setting just feels wrong. like inherently it feels off. Like you're explaining it, and I think you do. Like, yes, you're right. I just.
It just didn't sit well for you. It just didn't the film didn't justify it in and of itself, and that's kind of the sin it can't get away from.
The best way I can describe it is it's like if Gandalf showed up in like a city.
Yeah.
Just something about that just feels wrong.
Well, I mean, like lightsaber and bullets just doesn't work, right?
Yeah, it just doesn't hit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can feel that.
Artificial. It feels like we're not in the same rules, you know. And I know that's a very fucking vague personal thing, but it's the only way I can describe it. Is it just as I was feeling it, I had an inward like, no, you've gone too far. You've broke it. You've broke the suspension of disbelief here. You've pushed it back over the line. Again, I think the balance I would have gone with is she uses the lightsaber to like surprise the guy and then get him, and then they just scatter because the Star Destroyer kicks off or something, right? Like something to that effect, where it's you can maybe imply it just by the fact that she's using a lightsaber. I
just want to establish for a fact that like the fan film went hard, and Alfie said, nah, maybe you should have pulled back a little bit on that one.
Yeah, you know, it is. And that's rare to happen, but this is a case where I feel like it's a good example of what you bring up to me sometimes, where it's just like there are some things where you need a gentler touch, and this is one of those rare instances where I find that, you know? So, again, I think that's the weakest part. Finding the Star Destroyer thing and that coming up, I thought was a really good sequence.
I like the Star Destroyer like set. I don't know if it was a practical set or all digital or what, but it looked really good.
Super good. Yeah, that's super impressive. All of that stuff I think works, and like the setup of stuff is okay. I think it's a little weird to have the fucking using the secrets of the Star Wars thing set up with the guy and the insurgents like coming across. Feels a little 2000s movie plot, you know, with the white archaeologists. Oh, I'm still doing this, okay. I mean, it's not unrealistic or anything. It just feels like, okay, we're doing this, I guess, suppose. I maybe would have preferred it actually if they'd leaned even harder to the Indiana Jones and just had it been the Nazis trying to get at. Because Hitler was all about
like that mythic stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the more Stormtrooper parallel, you know, like that's the one you go for, not necessarily the guys in robes who believe in mystical religions. Though Star Wars says those guys are the good guys. You maybe sent out a bit of a mixed messages there, but I don't know. I feel like that setup maybe could have been tweaked, but overall, I like the performance. I like the performance of the main bad guy. He's clearly having a lot of fun. He's very having it up, but I think that's for the tone this is going for. I think that's fine, and I think he does a good job selling it. And the main actors, the actress and the actor who played George Lucas's parents, which is still a really weird sentence to say.
George Lucas is dead.
Yeah, his daddy. Yeah, my dad was in Star Wars. He threw a Star Destroyer. I was like, wow, it's a good thing George Lucas didn't fucking become like a dentist or something. Then all this would have been in vain.
So, how's it going? We're gonna do a root canal. I'm just gonna tell you about Master Yoda. He's a little green sorcerer, and yeah, it is. Oh, sorry, you don't want me to talk. Okay, I'll just do this root canal. Maybe I should have done movies.
Sorry, Dad. I just like poetry rhymes. But like it's one of those things where just weird choices hold it back a bit, but in terms of a pure craft level, I do want to keep harping on is it's acted well, it's shot really, really well. It feels like it could have been like a Disney Plus short or something to celebrate George Lucas's birthday or some shit. Like it's got some kudos behind it, so I can see why people like it. Because I think for Star Wars stuff, people really go for like, the technically impressive stuff. Really gets people going, and obviously this is trying to have like a positive message and say a good thing. But I think there are some choices here which undercut that and leave me with a weird feeling outside of just the George Lucas thing. The little bits here and there, I'm just like, really, we're doing this, okay? And the lightsaber thing again is just a very personal. No, don't do that.
Well, it's funny because I remember I was reading the fucking Anakin and Obi-Wan comic, and they ended up like stranded on this planet that like was not super technologically advanced like all the other Star Wars planets. And someone just like shoots at Obi-Wan and he tries to block it with the lightsaber. The bullet fucking like goes through the blade and it just like it melts a little bit, but like it still retains its form. And it does legit shoot Obi-Wan, and I'm like, well, fuck. So I guess bullets do work against lightsabers, which is really funny because I made that joke like forever ago in my movie.
Because that's the thing, right? Is if you're gonna like a Jedi would be fine because a Jedi can just stop the bullets Neo style. Lightsaber, yeah, isn't unless you're fucking Ryan Reynolds Deadpool. That's not really gonna go so well.
Yeah, it's just funny. It's just amusing. I made that joke like 10 years ago that the fucking lightsaber wouldn't stop a bullet.
For profit.
Yeah. I don't know. I for me that moment did work. I just thought it was like cool, and like it just once it happened, it felt obvious, and I felt stupid for not realizing it. And I always like that feeling, you know. That's something that always works well for me. So I did like that. Yeah, the acting I thought was pretty solid all the way across. I would have liked some more shots of like the murals and stuff because I feel like you only get at least in my head, the only thing I'm remembering. I'd have to go back and like rewatch it. But I only remember seeing a lot of the like original trilogy stuff like painted on the walls of the cave. It would have been nice to see like more than that, but you know, whatever.
It's funny because they show a lot of stuff from like the sequels. I'm like, oh, why are you telling George Lucas he didn't do those ones? He didn't Ray running with Finn and stuff like that.
Oh, so like, that is in there. Okay, my bad.
Yeah,
I guess my eyes just went to the Yoda. I guess is all it came down to.
Yeah. That it's funny because the murals are like famous moments, but it's that like again, it's nitpicking, but it's just funny to say. It's just like who the fuck got these shots? How do people know what Yoda looked like on Dagobah? That motherfucker was in hiding.
Well, it's the story, Alfie. It's the story.
It's just not real. Yeah, exactly. It's just funny to say that thing. But yeah, I like those stuff. I would have liked leaning into that. I like the stuff like that learning the language and they can't read the books about decipher because of course it'd be Galactic Basic and that's not English. We only hear it as English for the movie's sake, which I think is if you're gonna do it like lean into stuff like that is really cool. But yeah, I maybe would have liked the nerdy part of me a little less of the like action, like running away, like tragedy, and like lightsaber stuff, and maybe a little bit more of like disregard the George Lucas thing. Star Wars archaeologists discover the remnants of like an Imperial shuttle that has like all these like it's like a scout ship, but it's got like all these archives and like galactic history and stuff. Like it's stuff from the First Order, so you got all the eras covered. How do they interpret it? I think I would have liked it. Like, I would have liked if they got some stuff wrong. It would have been really interesting to hear. Like, you look at these paintings on the walls. Do you get Anakin Skywalker's Darth Vader from that? Like, what? I would have liked to have them talk about it a little bit more in the same way that scholars like argue about like historical events. Like, what is the scholarly argument about the Star War? I would have liked to hear.
It's really like, cool. They get it like completely wrong. They're like, they get it completely wrong. They're like, this is the tragedy of the greatest galactic empire being destroyed by a bunch of terrorists.
Yeah, that just turns into the super fucking right wing. Like, oh, we're being hunted by terrorists as well.
Oh no.
Yeah, they just have the complete fucking Republican view.
Oh, yeah, yeah. All right. Anything else you want to cover with this one? You want to go ahead and go on to ratings?
Again, super impressive with the sets, with what was digital, what was not. I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Mm-hmm. Same.
They really got a Star Destroyer. I was crazy that they managed to rent that. From Steve Jobs, fucking at the time. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting little experiment for sure.
Yeah, I think this is one of those cases where like everything about it technically is pretty solid to great, and the thing that we're hung up on is just all story beats, which is I think a pretty good amount of praise for a fan film, certainly.
Sure. I would like to see these dudes and gals do some more Star Wars stuff, like do some like actual Star Wars stuff, because they got the fucking cash for it apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be interested to see like what would their take be on just Jedi stuff or Sith or Empire stuff. Maybe just Empire stuff, because they've got like the soldier stuff down and they've got a bunch of extras and stuff. To get some 501st dudes, stormtrooper outfits, just film like a siege or some shit. That'd be fucking epic to see. Because normally the fan films, even when they look good, they're very small cast, like just a couple people. Yeah, a bunch of extras and stuff here that I think would make for some. Never really get large scale Star Wars fan films of like the battles and stuff. I would maybe like to see something like that from these guys.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to ratings. I'll go first. I'll give this 3 out of 5 Yoda murals.
Yeah, I'll give this 3 out of 5. Nazi seeing Star Destroyers, because that's such a fucking cut to Hitler. His fucking react, like, if this all happens in the same, but like, what, he's like, oh, fucking Red Skull betrayed me, now there's this shit, I lost the 10, like, every comic version of, like, Hitler seeing franchise shit, I want to know his, like, reaction to it. He's so funny. Oh man, yeah, it'd be interesting. So I'll give it 3 out of 5 Nazi scene Star Destroyers.
Nice. All right, so you threw down the gauntlet with this inadvertent pick, so I went ahead and made an advertent pick. And I'm actually pretty excited about it because I skipped around and it. Quality looks pretty good, and it is a lengthy one.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Supermen World War fan film 2019 by DJC Films with a Z. Supermen.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's got the Superman logo, but it's Supermen World War. So should be exciting. It's set in World War II, so should be a good time. All right, everyone. Until then, we'll see you next time. I'm Sid Perdue, I am the philosopher.
And I am the champion of the oppressed.
And we are your geeky gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.
It would have been the part they had fucking hypest. They gave the page, man. They fucking dropped at the first issue of that event, man. Is the hypest fucking mic dropping comics of all time, and they didn't commit. it's fucking, the universe goes white. It's just the only universes in the Marvel multiverse left. All of them have been destroyed by this cosmic event. And the only two left that are fighting each other for survival are Ultimate and 616. And then the fucking white void expands as the planets collide, and you just get the final page. It's just pure white with just two pieces of text. Universe 616, 1963 to 2015. Fucking Ultimate Universe 2000 to 2015. And then they give him a fucking RIP. And then they didn't commit and just make a new universe after it. They fucking just, oh, never mind. They're both fine. It's like, no! It was so hype! You gave it a fucking headstone, bro!
Alfie's just like, kill everything I love. Ah, now spit on me.
Dude, if you do it in a hype way, though,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
can literally kill anything, and I'll be like, yeah, it was pretty sick.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, you want to go ahead and do the fan film review?
Sure thing, sir. Let me just get a little sip of a drink.
Okay. Alfie's drinking problem getting in the way of the show again.
Yeah, no, even about Spider-Man. His parents were robots.
There you go. You know, the show Drunk History, drunk comic book continuity.
Oh, it'd be so good.
Oh, no.
Dick Grayson got a disco and Jason Todd died. But he's fine now.
Oh my god, drunk comic continuity would be pretty fucking funny.
Superman had like this period where he was kind of a dick. He was
So
like,
Superman had electricity powers.
No. He was an angel. He fought an angel, and then he had long hair. And it was like not cool as you think, as it sounds. I should have given him a beard, and he'd be hot.
Oh my goodness, on that note.